March 8, 2014, began like any other day. The sun rose over bustling cities, and people around the world went about their routines, unaware that this day would soon be etched into history for a tragic reason. Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370, a Boeing 777, prepared for a routine flight. The aircraft, known for its reliability and advanced technology, was being meticulously checked by the ground crew, ensuring everything was in perfect order for the journey ahead. Departing from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, its destination was Beijing, China. The flight was a regular service, connecting two major cities in Asia, a route that had been flown countless times without incident. On board were 227 passengers from 15 nations and 12 crew members. These individuals represented a cross-section of humanity, each with their own stories, dreams, and destinations. Families, business travelers, and tourists all settled into their seats, ready for the journey. The captain, Zahari Ahmad Shah, was a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flight hours. His extensive experience and calm demeanor made him a respected figure among his peers and a reassuring presence for passengers. The first officer, Farik Hamid, was relatively inexperienced but considered competent. At 27 years old, he was eager to prove himself and had already shown great promise in his career. At 12:41 a.m. local time, MH370 lifted off. The takeoff was smooth, and the aircraft ascended into the night sky, leaving behind the twinkling lights of Kuala Lumpur. It climbed to its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet and settled into what seemed like an ordinary flight. The passengers relaxed, some gazing out of the windows at the vast expanse of clouds below. Passengers likely dozed, read, or chatted, unaware of the terrifying ordeal that awaited them. The cabin was filled with the quiet hum of the engines and the soft murmur of conversations. The first leg of the journey proceeded without incident. The flight crew monitored the instruments, ensuring everything was functioning as expected. Around 38 minutes into the flight, as MH370 approached Vietnamese airspace, something unexpected happened. The aircraft, which had been following its planned route, suddenly deviated from its course. Air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur received the last message from the cockpit. The routine communication was meant to signify the handover to Vietnamese air traffic control. The voice, believed to be that of the first officer, uttered the standard farewell, "Good night, Malaysian 370." These words, calm and professional, gave no hint of the impending crisis. These routine words would become the last known communication from the aircraft. Shortly after, MH370 vanished from radar screens, leaving air traffic controllers puzzled and concerned. What happened next has baffled investigators and the world ever since. The disappearance of such a large aircraft, with all its modern tracking technology, seemed impossible. MH370 vanished from radar screens, disappearing without a trace over the Gulf of Thailand. The sudden loss of contact triggered a series of emergency protocols and a frantic search for answers. The disappearance of MH370 remains one of the most perplexing aviation mysteries of our time. Despite the efforts of international search teams and the deployment of advanced technology, the aircraft's fate remains unknown. Despite years of intensive searches and numerous theories, the fate of the flight and the souls on board continues to elude us. The search operations have spanned vast areas of the ocean, involving multiple countries and countless hours of work. The following sections delve into the details of the search efforts, the various theories proposed, and the lasting impact of this tragedy. We will explore the painstaking investigations, the emotional toll on the families, and the enduring quest for closure. The story of MH370 is not just about a missing plane. It's about the human spirit's resilience in the face of uncertainty and loss. The disappearance of MH370 from radar was not immediate. It began as a routine flight with nothing out of the ordinary. The aircraft, a Boeing 777, was en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, carrying 239 passengers and crew members. The flight took off at 12:41 a.m. local time on March 8, 2014, and was expected to land in Beijing at 6:30 a.m. The initial lack of alarm stemmed from the fact that aircraft often disappear from radar temporarily, especially when transitioning between air traffic control regions. This is a common occurrence and usually resolves itself within minutes as the aircraft re-establishes communication with the next control center. It was assumed that MH370 had simply experienced a minor communication glitch. Pilots and air traffic controllers are trained to handle such situations, and there are established protocols to follow. However, in this case, the expected communication never resumed. However, as minutes turned into hours, and attempts to contact the aircraft proved futile, a chilling realization dawned. MH370 was missing. The last voice communication from the cockpit was at 1:19 a.m., when the co-pilot calmly said, "Good night, Malaysian 370. Shortly after, the aircraft's transponder was switched off, making it invisible to civilian radar. The initial search efforts concentrated on the area where the plane was last detected by radar, the Gulf of Thailand. This region is a busy maritime area, and it was hoped that any debris or signs of the aircraft would be quickly spotted by passing ships or aircraft. Search and rescue teams from Malaysia, Vietnam, and other countries scoured the waters and surrounding landmass. The search involved a wide array of resources, including ships, aircraft, and satellites. Despite the extensive efforts, no trace of the aircraft was found in the initial search area. Days turned into weeks, and the search area expanded dramatically. The search zone was extended to cover vast swaths of the Indian Ocean, based on new data suggesting the aircraft had flown for several hours after losing contact. Analysis of military radar data revealed that MH370 had deviated significantly from its intended flight path. Military radar, which continued to track the aircraft after it disappeared from civilian radar, showed that it had made a series of turns and changes in altitude. Instead of continuing northeast towards Beijing, the aircraft had made an unexpected westward turn, flying back across the Malay Peninsula. This unexpected maneuver took the aircraft over the Andaman Sea and into one of the most remote areas of the world. This new information painted a disturbing picture. The deliberate change in course suggested that someone in the cockpit was in control of the aircraft. This raised numerous questions about the intentions and state of mind of the pilots. The deliberate change in course, coupled with the aircraft's transponder being switched off, strongly suggested that the disappearance was no accident. The transponder is a crucial piece of equipment that allows air traffic controllers to identify and track an aircraft. Turning it off is a highly unusual and suspicious act. Theories ranged from a hijacking to a deliberate act by the pilot. Some speculated that the aircraft had been taken over by terrorists, while others suggested that one of the pilots had intentionally diverted the flight for reasons unknown. The world watched in disbelief and horror as the mystery deepened. Families of the passengers and crew were left in a state of anguish, desperate for any news about their loved ones. The lack of information and the conflicting reports only added to their torment. The lack of concrete evidence only fueled speculation, turning MH370 into a global enigma. Experts from around the world weighed in with their theories, but without any physical evidence, it was impossible to determine what had happened to the aircraft. The following sections explore the unprecedented search efforts and the various theories proposed to explain the disappearance. The search for MH370 became one of the largest and most complex in aviation history, involving multiple countries and cutting-edge technology. Despite the extensive efforts, the mystery of MH370 remains unsolved to this day, leaving a lasting impact on the world of aviation and the families of those on board.